Y'all ready for some nonsense? Greetings and welcome to an LGR thing, a project that I've been wanting to do for years now, honestly, and it's all finally started to come together in terms of parts and components, and this case in particular. Yeah, what we're going to be doing is building a kind of oddware museum consisting of all the 5 1/4 inch weird drive bay items that I've covered here on LGR and LGR Oddware, and yeah, many of which you have seen before, and several you haven't. I just haven't had anything to do with them yet, or maybe they just haven't gotten around to having a video made about them or whatever, but we're going to stick as many as possible in here, and making that happen is this wonderful case from 2008. This is an Antec 1200. A big old beast of a full tower case housing 12 5 1/4 inch drive bays. Pretty ideal for this kind of project, I hope. And yeah, this is the original version of the case from 2008. There were later ones with updated ports and fans and whatnot, but the version 1 here cost $170 in the summer of 2008 when it hit store shelves, or at least the store shelves that were big enough to hold this beast. I actually had the 300 from Antec in 2008 myself, which was a mid-tower case with 9 5 1/4 inch drive bays, but I pretty much just left them as is. I didn't really use them. I mostly just left the fans in place. And there were lots of front fans included on the 1200 here too, but I've already removed them during the cleaning process. And yeah, the cleaning, this case really needed it. It's a black case, so, you know, the dirt doesn't show up like super vividly, but it had like a decade of caked on fingerprint grime and dust and other residue from whoever owned this before I bought it online. And yeah, I just gave it a thorough wipe down as well as a dusting, and I just went through this thing outside, took it all apart, blew all the crap out of there that was easy to get out. But like I said, it was all this caked on grime, so it took a bit of scrubbing around and brushes just to loosen everything up. Thankfully though, these cases always had really good airflow in my experience, so dust doesn't really cake up in 1 or 2 spots so much as it does just kind of everywhere. Gets a layer of it, but at least air is constantly flowing all the way through the thing. I mean, there are multiple fan assembly blocks in the front of the case that came pre-installed from the factory, as well as a massive 200mm fan up at the top of the case. So even though cooling isn't really my biggest concern with this project, you know, it's here. Alongside multiple drive cages for 3 1/2 inch and 5 1/4 inch sized drives, all of which I'm going to be removing because I want to use every single one of those drive bays for stupid oddware drive bay things. In fact, I was really tempted to not use this case for this project and just find like one of those big CD/DVD duplicator towers or server tower or some other thing with a ton of drive bays and just like put my dream Windows XP PC build in here and swap that out from the other case. But I mean, it's just so big, and I don't know. We're going to use it for this because there are just too many interesting oddware things that I've been wanting to put to use, and dang it, it's time. So here's the thing. As for this build, well, I had some choices to make and challenges to meet in terms of what exactly we're going to be doing with this. Like, not only the devices that I'm going to be filling these drive bays up with, but like, am I going to put a computer in here? I mean, I want to eventually, that is the plan, but I don't need to do so immediately, not just get everything in there and powered on. For that, all I need is a power supply, really. And so, I've got this EVGA 850 watt semi-modular supply, something I got on sale a while back, and it should have enough power connections for what we're doing, at least with adapters. Definitely gonna have to be using some SATA to Molex things, because a lot of these are older drive bay devices. The other concern is the rear slots in the back of the case. I believe there's only 7, and there's obviously more drive bay things that we're putting in here than that, and a lot of them do have rear brackets with them, so I don't know if I'm gonna have room enough for all of the rear brackets. We'll see. That's enough of the preamble though. Let's just get straight into the part selection and then into the build, which is, I don't know what we're doing, but it's gonna be fun. As for the 5 1/4 inch parts for our Tower of Oddware Power, there were a lot of things that I could choose from. Lots and lots of fan controllers and various cooling-related devices, water reservoirs, of course, tape backup drives, optical drives, removable hard disk drives, and such. Lots of bizarre and obsolete media formats of all kinds, and all sorts of just drawers and little stowaway things, which are interesting, sort of, but they're also kind of boring for this particular project. And of course, card readers and USB, FireWire, and other I/O interfaces. There are endless numbers of those, but that's all too pedestrian. I was really thinking stuff along the lines of the Drive Bay CRT by STS, which I've covered before, and unfortunately do not own. I was only borrowing it for that one video, and then I sent it back, so unfortunately that's not something that we're going to be able to put in here, but that's the idea, you know, stuff that looks flashy over everything else. You know, that's the priority, just a variety of aesthetics. And on that note, so the first one that I've chosen is the most recent to have been covered here in LGR at the time of recording. That is the Cooler Master Musketeer 3 vacuum tube VU meter volume control headphone output thing with a rather underwhelming result in terms of audio. But again, that's not really my priority here. I just want an awesome looking tower full of awesome looking stuff, and what is more awesome looking than vacuum tubes and analog VU meters? This will be great. Next up is another I've covered on LGR. A lot of these I've covered on LGR and will probably cover in the future too if I haven't already, but yeah, the NuQ Gold. I have always enjoyed the way this thing looks with its VFD. Looks like a car head unit kind of thing. In fact, a lot of these look like they could go in a car, but they don't. They're 5¼ inch drive bay things. And yeah, this is looks great. Had to have it. And here's one that I actually haven't covered yet. And this is the Veris. What is this? It's the Antec Veris. Yeah, Multimedia Station Premier. And this is another thing that looks like a vehicle head unit deal, but it actually takes up 2 5¼ inch drives. And just look at that. I haven't actually unboxed this. I think it's actually maybe still sealed. Yeah, awesome looking, I hope. Definitely the aesthetic I'm going for though. Naturally, with all this audio stuff, I mean, we gotta go with a Plusdeck 2C, the cassette tape drive for your computer. Another one I've covered on LGR, and not only does it look awesome, but yeah, it lets you play cassette tapes. See my video for in-depth demonstration of this, and many of these others. Is not really going to be going into detail of any of these. We're just going to get them in there and make this tower look amazing. And of course, I mean, look, we have to go with a Thermaltake X-Ray, or at least that's what I was going to say until I recently got this one here, which is the same thing made by Sunbeam instead of Thermaltake. And instead of having the beverage tray, the drawer that pops out there, in addition to the cigarette lighter DC power thing, this one right here has a drawer specifically made for cigarettes. Yeah, it's ribbed and everything to hold a layer of cigarettes. It's just an amusing thing. I've covered this over in LGR Blurbs. It's the same thing as the X-Ray, just even sillier in my opinion. Another Thermaltake device we got to put in here is the Circle Fire, with that Guy Fieri look to it and the glowing kind of VU. I mean, I don't really want to call them VU meters. It calls them that, but they're not really. They're just terrible. And it has a speaker in there for putting your audio through and some LEDs. I mean, this is just one of those things that dances around with colors, and it's stupid. And the sound it puts out is terrible. And that's entirely fine for this. The stupider the better, right? Likewise with the Cooler Master Musketeer 2, another one of those dancing VU meter things that doesn't really do what it should, if I recall. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Also has a hard disk activity indicator there in the middle, but yeah, 2 meters on the side and different lighting colors you can choose from, and some switches. Switches and knobs are always welcome. Not that too many of these actually have them, but this one does have a little switch and a little knob on there. This is the EasyConnections.com mini subwoofer. And yeah, you know, it's a thing. It's not very flashy to look at, but it does provide some sound that is actually better than the Circlefire, and even better than the stereo speaker twin sound thing. So I figured I'd use this instead of the twin sound. I don't know. Like having a subwoofer inside of 5 1/4 inch drive bay is sillier to me than just plain old speakers. And being a sucker for displays, I had to go with this right here. This is a Silverstone SST FPS4. It has a VFD going on here. And yeah, kind of a dot matrix thing. I think you could program it to just show a number of different things. Another one that I've actually not opened or set up before. So hopefully we can get it going. I don't know. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't. But it looks like it will look awesome. As does this thing, which is admittedly one of the more boring in terms of what it does. It's just a touchscreen fan controller, but look at that display. I don't know. I just think alongside all the other things that will stand out a bit. I've never actually plugged this in or hooked it up. I don't even know if we're going to plug in fans to it or anything like that. I mean, it's just here to look neat. And then at this point, I start running into, well, not running out of ideas, but running into some interesting choices like, what else do I still want to put in here? I think I've still got a couple of bays left. Well, one of them that I chose is this Evercool personal computer air conditioner. Yeah. Never used this. I don't know how in the heck this is supposed to work. It seems like just a glorified fan, but the design is interesting. And maybe I'm wrong. I think this is supposed to be cooling your computer as opposed to you, right? That's what I'm getting from this vague packaging and product name. And so since I may swap one of these out, not sure yet, I have an optional 13th choice I might go with in the end if something goes wrong. One of these classics, a Creative Labs Creative Live Drive IR and audio interface thing. I believe this is for, well, it's probably one of the Audigy cards or one of the Sound Blaster Live cards. I don't actually remember. I've got the other stuff that goes with it somewhere, but yeah, you saw all kinds of these type of things on various, especially Creative Labs cards back in the day. This one also adds infrared though, in addition to knobs and inputs and outputs and MIDI and all kinds of things, as opposed to doing something that's like this, which is just adding infrared in a 5 1/4 inch drive bay, which is pretty cool in its own right. Yeah, you've got that plus more, and you know, more is what I'm doing. So yeah, this is our dozen stupid things we're gonna put in this stupid case. Potentially, I don't know. This might be more stupid than I realize, and we might swap out some of these for other things if I don't like how they go in there, or maybe they don't work at all. Some of these are untested. I don't know. I've got a lot more 5 1/4 inch drive bay items hanging around. So this is subject to change, is what I'm saying, throughout this video. So whatever. Let's just start sticking stuff in the case and see what we get. Interesting. It's got one of these brackets for putting a larger power supply in there if you want, but we just got a normal one. So plenty of outputs there for our various cables, but a lot of Molex is going to be involved here, so no doubt going to need some adapters. Of course, we'll need some way to actually power it on beyond just granting it power from the wall. You know, you'll typically initialize that by pressing the soft power button on your case, which is then routed to the motherboard, and that's powered through here. And while there are different options available for doing that, I think we're gonna go with one of these, which should make it very straightforward. Instead of just shorting pins or whatever, we actually have this that goes to here. And there we go. We don't need to actually plug in a motherboard or anything. Plus, it's just satisfying. All right. So this gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full-sized 4-pin Molex. And the rest is all SATA. We got the one floppy All right, we're gonna be using a bunch of adapters. Okay, quick power test. Nice. Oh, which one of these devices we put in first is the question now. I might like this up top. Still never actually opened this thing up or seen it in action. A nifty remote. It is a very lightweight, cheap, plasticky kind of thing. What the heck is with the screen? That's just like a mirror. Yeah, that's just a mirror. What in the world? I was not expecting the whole vanity situation. Okay. Huh. So we've got multiple power sources here. Power switch, motherboard power, first power. Figures I probably picked the most complicated one to start off with. Wow, what the heck? Okay, this is incredible and so silly at the same time. It's leeching power off of pins 6, 7, and 9. 9 though, that's the 5 volt standby. So it's got regular 5 volts, but also controlling the standby, which goes in here. You're just supposed to be able to control your computer through this remote control. And I guess it really wants you to have all of that. So this just goes in between your power supply and the motherboard. And then you've also got this other one here that's a pass-through for your power switch on your computer case. And then this guy, plug this pass-through in here. And then that just goes to your motherboard and gets your communications. It's just a couple of data lines, ground and voltage. Really, this is just using plus 5 volts, but also it wants standby. I mean, I guess we don't really have to do that. We could just plug it in whatever way, but let's just put in the pass-through. I promise these won't all take this long to get installed. I just want to see this thing power on. Just curious about that. Oh my god, I haven't even, okay. It just powered on, didn't it? Yeah. I haven't even powered anything on yet. It's plugged in, but... Right. Anyway, look at this thing. That mirror makes it so very hard to see, but fascinating to look at regardless. Okay, everything's powered off. It's not even plugged into the wall. We're still getting power. Come on, capacitors, do your thing. Oh, finally powered itself off after 30 seconds or so of being unplugged from everything. First one in. Look at that. The mirror is so stupid. All right, let's do the ridiculous air conditioner. What do we got here? It's a fan header. At least that feels lubricated. Anyway, guess I'm gonna use one of these 3-pin to Molex. Let's see. Feels like we should have some speakers. Let's do the Circle Fire. Oh yeah, I forgot this thing is really dumb. I'm not even gonna bother with that for now. Let's just plug in power. This is just gonna be a mess. Okay, well, this is coming together. Why not? Let's do something silver here. We got the Cooler Master Musketeer 3. All of these drive things, and not an ounce of usability. Let's just put the other Musketeer underneath the Musketeer. I totally forgot about all this. Everything about this is gonna scream fire hazard by the time I'm done. Both the Cooler Master things are like totally different silvers. How annoying is that? Just not gonna look at it, not gonna look at it. Behind the curtain. Can't put it off any longer. We gotta go with the tape deck. Oh, thank goodness. Just got that one ribbon cable going from the back to the front, instead of like 15 audio cables and serial and whatever else. So much simpler. Heck yeah. Always satisfying to see this installed, no matter how many times I do it. Cassette and a PC. On to the SATA adapters. An elegant solution for a more civilized age. All right, let's do this thing I've also never opened or used. Well, isn't that neat? And also might be the most useless one without a computer to plug it into. So this uses a parallel cable, and then this is both for data and power. Look at all the cool crap you can do though. It'll show you your system information, CPU model, speed, memory capacity, Winamp, display song title, playtime, your network stats. Super cool. That'll be awesome to use someday. All right, let's do this fan controller deal. I've never used this myself, but I did purchase it used. Which way's up, which way's down? Yeah, logo on the left. I wonder if I could plug it into the stupid air conditioner, because that does use a fan header. I hope it looks cool, because man, it feels like total garbage. All right, it's time for cigarettes. Not really, just time for the thing. Yeah. New Q time. Haven't had this thing out in years. Predates the Megalumina Monster and everything. It's another one that uses a 10-pin connector for the audio and data. Now what are we up to now in terms of brackets? 5? 6? Lost count. So I won't even need this other set of cables because we just have 2 more things to plug in, so. Last but probably least, we have the subwoofer. Piece of junk. So, I mean, you know, it's a little better as just a regular speaker than a sub. Yeah, there we go. It is done. This nonsense. It's finally reality. At least the part where there's just a whole bunch of oddware in one case. 12 distinctly silly devices. That is an incredible sight in person. Well, now there is, of course, all the back bracket stuff, which I'm not too overly concerned with at the moment since we don't even have a computer in there. And of course, I just need to check all of the power. Just double, triple check everything, because man, there's weird voltages everywhere. Talk about a hazard waiting to happen. I'm gonna check on all that stuff and be back shortly. All right, just a power test here. Went and checked over everything. It seems to be all connected up sort of properly. So before I get it fully assembled, let's just power this sucker on. Okay. Oh my goodness. It's all powered on. This is so silly. Of course, we don't get a display or any kind of interactivity from everything because a number of them rely on the computer or, you know, software. So nothing from that Silverstone bit and the cassette deck that also needs software to work. But the rest of this, yeah, man. This is so dumb. Speaking of dumb, yeah, that air conditioner thing, that is blowing out, not intaking and then blowing in or anything. It's, I guess, supposed to cool you off, just pointing downward? What is supposed to just, because you could feel it here, but not here. You can feel it right here, but that's about it. So it's just sucking hot air from your computer on the inside and pushing it out? I don't know. I guess that kind of... I'm confused by it. And despite the terribly cheap construction, this Kingwin fan controller deal is pretty neat to look at and touch and stuff. Man, I really wish I had a computer ready to put in here. I wasn't planning on doing that. Not yet. I think Windows XP would work for everything. Because a lot of these are platform agnostic or whatever, but the ones that do require software, I believe XP is probably the way to go. I really want this to work. I want a lot of these things to work that aren't currently functioning. And on that note, I think I'm going to end this video here, even though I really don't want to. The reason being that as cool as this is to just mess around with on its own as is, it clearly needs the computer side of things to really make the most out of everything, or even use some of these deals at all. And I'm left in kind of a weird position here just as somebody making YouTube videos, right? Because I want to get this video out this week. I didn't have one last week. I was out of town, and the computer parts that I was going to put in here have not yet arrived. I was really counting on them arriving over the weekend, or before preferably, but they still haven't. And so I kind of just need to like just put this out there and then get your thoughts. Like, may as well, right? What would you like to see in here, running in here, in terms of a system? Windows XP is kind of ideal, but maybe 2000. I think the software for this, and this will also work in 2000, but maybe Vista? I don't know. I'm obviously leaning more towards XP, but what kind of hardware? Like I said, I've got something on the way, but I also have things hanging around here. The thing is, though, and I would just go ahead and use what I have, everything of that era that would make sense for this, because it's got to have serial, it's got to have parallel, it's got to have USB, and preferably integrated graphics, so we're not taking up any of those slots in the back. Yeah, anything that fits all that criteria is inside of an existing build already, or it needs repair, and then that's going to take longer than I have. You see what I mean? I'm just in a weird spot. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. I'm curious, because my plan is to take this out places like vintage computer festivals and things like that, wherever I have like an LGR table exhibit thing set up so people can just mess around with all of this, except maybe the cigarette lighter. This thing still scares me. In fact, I had this, I accidentally bumped into it, and it just sort of started lighting up. I started smelling a bit of plastic. I think it's heating up this Kingwin thing a bit too much, so I might have to shift that around. I'm just gonna leave that part unplugged whenever I take it out in public. It's a bit of a hazard. Anyway, still more work to do on this. Let me know your thoughts as it is right now, or maybe some other things that you'd prefer to see swapped out with something else stupid in terms of drive bay items. And yeah, what kind of system you'd like to see built in here, and the follow-up video that I guess we're doing. And as always, thanks for watching.